Hi, everybody. I'm a minute late. Sorry. Hi, Eve. Hi, Crafty with Amy. Yes, Eve is the mod extraordinaire, although all of my mods are awesome. Hi, Annabelle. Annabelle's an awesome mod, too. So what's going on? I've been through it again. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, why people are coming after me, but anyway. Just for the record, I did not call into PG's live. I know people are saying that. Hi, Reeks. They're all saying that I was so rude to call into PG's live and take over the panel. I didn't know that my conversation was being broadcast on a live. Brooks called me. I answered the phone. I didn't know that. I wasn't watching PG. I didn't know that my call was being broadcast. So there we go. And I have receipts. Hi, Alessia. So what else is going on? I see everyone's I see one person discuss something and then all the other creators talk about it too. The same day. So today we are on Candace when she was drunk at the lake. Yeah, Annabelle, I saw that. I wish she would take down the video accusing me though. Hi, Bob. Welcome. Always good to see Bob. When Candace was at the in the woods there, when she was sleeping and stuff, if anybody has that uncropped picture of her under the tree with the tripod with the tablet on it recording her, if you would send that to me, please. Thank you. I posted the cropped one on my community tab, but yeah, Alessia, that's what, yeah. I looked at it for a couple minutes and saw Brooks on there with Justin and PG and that guy I've never seen before. Like, what the heck? That just kind of shocked me. That didn't seem like something she would do. She said she was trying to help. She said she was trying to help Brandy. But see, that's what I was talking about on the phone call is that guy related to Brandy? Because remember, I'm not watching that. I'm not watching PG. I had watched it earlier and saw Brooks and Pearls and PG and this, I don't know, whatever that guy's name is. And I saw Brooks say to him, your mom wants you to call her. So then when she called me and she said she was trying to help Brandy, I thought Brandy isn't even there. And then I thought, well, is that guy some relation to Brandy? So anyway. Hi, Deborah Ann. Hi, hon. I don't know. I can't speak for what she's doing. I was just a little surprised. You know, isn't it kind of like musical chairs? I think that's kind of interesting to see who hooks up with who, and then who breaks up in different alliances that form. Isn't 555? Didn't she hook up with Benny and Tiffany Marie? I think it was, which was surprising. I can't tell what's going on. Yeah, I don't either. Hi, Lady R. Oh, yeah. Hey, squirrely girl, my squirrely friend. Oh, I'm gonna put pictures of my new squirrel ornaments I just got with wreaths on them. Yeah, I can't go back. For one thing, yeah, I can't listen to it either. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I really didn't. I don't know. She said she didn't set me up, but and why let everybody believe that I called in? I don't understand that either. Anyway, okay, so let's move on past that. Every day it's something. So the other person that called me a pedophile and a child molester did not remove, she had 48 hours to remove her 6 videos about me and Don's dick, and did not. So now YouTube has escalated that. But then she made a video that I told everybody to go mass report her, which is kind of funny because I never said that. I never even mentioned the name of her channel. I still haven't mentioned the name of her channel. Hey, Tree Tree. Welcome. Did I miss anyone? I think my cats are getting a little rowdy here, so I don't know. I might have to, you might hear some howling and screeching and me yelling. Oh, Eve. Oh, yes, Lady R. You know who that is. Oh, yeah, she made 6 videos about me. I'm a pedophile, a child molester. I took my children into a pedophile community and lived with Don and Candace and Pam in Arkansas. I don't have children, but yeah. Yeah, you know who it is. Yeah, it's kind of sad. I don't know. People seem to be targeting me lately, and I'm not sure why. But anyway, I don't want to talk about other channels. Let's just talk about mine. I'm not even going to watch any other channels because, they don't really have any new content. I'd rather search that out on my own. You guys, I'll keep your fingers crossed because I got something really big that I'm trying to, someone I'm trying to get to do an interview. And it would be epic. So I'm hoping it works out. Okay, so here we go. This is the second interview that Theresa from CriminaliTy. Eve, could you please put Theresa's link to her channel in here? Thank you. Thank you, Lady R. I appreciate it. Let me put my Summer Wells banner up here. There we go. Okay, now we're set. Okay, so this is Theresa from CriminaliTy. True Crime with T, interviewing Mary Hartman, Don's stepsister. This is her second interview, August 9th of 2021. Okay. She said, this is Theresa. If you guys remember, we talked with Mary a couple weeks ago. Mary is Don Wells, which is Summer Wells' dad. Hi, Darian. Thank you, Eve. This Summer Wells' dad, Mary, is his stepsister. They've known each other since they were approximately 4 years old. And if you guys have been listening and following along with Summer's case, Don has come out and done some interviews with some different YouTubers, and he has made a few statements, and Mary would like to take the time to speak her side and her family's side. And I believe her sister, which is Jeannie, and possibly niece, Trish, are going to be in chat tonight. If they choose that they want to come up, they're more than welcome to come up too. So we really just wanted to take this opportunity for Mary to be able to say the truth from her childhood, and then answer any questions. She's offered to answer any questions that you guys have if she has the answers. So thank you guys so much for being here. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of how does this help find Summer? And I want it to be very clear this channel is not just about Summer, it is about victims in general. And we are focused on the Summer case, of course. Oh, hi, Kate, you. Hi, Dina Lynn. Hi, Wisconsin Mama. Oh, some mod you are. You guys are funny. Okay, I hope everybody listened to the first part so that you can compare, what she's saying here. And, contrary to what someone said last week, we are not trying to discredit Mary or tear Mary down. I've gone through all these interviews, I did Allie's, 2 parts on Allie, David Dotson, and now this is the second one on Mary. So we're just going to, see what people said and thought at the beginning, 2.5 years ago, and see what's changed and how much has come out since then and how different it is. So let's see. So this channel is not just about Summer, it's about victims in general. And we are focused on the Summer case, of course. And this is Summer's aunt. But there are also some things that happened in the past that could or could not have something to do with Summer. At this point, we don't know because everything is still on the table. So I just want you guys to be as respectful as you can. Anybody's talking in chat that has some not so nice comments, we've got a lot of great wrenches in here. I needed some great wrenches last week for some reason. Okay, so Mary, welcome again to True Crime with Tea. And Mary says, okay, thank you. Okay. And Theresa says, just because we've already had you on before, but could you just give us a little synopsis of kind of your history? And then you're welcome to take the floor and say whatever it is that you would like. And Mary says, I just wanted to let everyone know, a few things about what Donnie's been saying. He's just been going on and saying a lot of lies about our family and about things that have went on while we were growing up. And I just wanted to get the story out there and get it straight, because it just really upsets me that, that he's lying about these things. And I just want everyone to know the truth, and so I'm trying to get it out there, because there's a lot of people that I don't know. They're just like, they go online and they put us down and they put my family down. And, my mom and dad and everything has been brought into this. And I just want everyone to know the truth. Touch of Class. Hi, welcome. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Welcome to our chat. Okay, so this is Theresa. I'm trying to figure out who's talking so I can let you guys know, because I know that was the problem last time. We know Don's done a couple interviews recently, and your family has been brought up. You guys, when you were younger, I believe that you were like a month apart in age. Your sister, which would also be Don's other stepsister, was how much younger than you guys? And Mary said she's 7 years younger. And Theresa said, okay, there's one thing that I wanted to address. Well, there's a few things. Oh, no, this is still Mary talking. There's one thing I wanted to address. There's a few things I wanted to address. And the one was about him saying that it was consensual between him and my sister. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm reading chat for a minute. What did I miss? Crafting. What did she ask? Hi, Innocent. Glad to see you, hon. Knowledge. Uh, am I going to regret it? Am I going to regret it if I give you a link? Okay. For those Anderson, who's Anderson? Yeah, I don't think I want that going on. I've never said anything about you or your children, so I don't even know what you're on about. Ro, I'm sorry. Oh, touch of class. No, you can't hear Mary. These interviews, I'm kind of thrown here for a second. These interviews were all privated, and so I'm just reading the transcript. I can't play them because it's copyrighted, but I'm just reading the transcript here. Okay, so I wanted to rest with him saying that it was consensual between him and my sister. And he said this happened when he was 15 years old. Well, at 15 years old, my sister was only 7. And I'm sorry, but a 7-year-old does not have the ability to consent to a sexual arrangement or relationship. You know what I mean? So that's totally wrong when he said that it was consensual. So, it's just, I don't see how you can say that it's consensual when you have a 15-year-old teenage boy and a 7-year-old little girl. That's just, it's not going to happen. Theresa says, when you were on last time, you mentioned something about when you were approximately 13. Would you be comfortable sharing that story? And Mary said, yes, I would. It was when I was about 13 years old, and he had a couple of friends over. My mom and dad weren't home. They were out on the truck on a run, and so we were home alone for a couple of days. All of us kids, and they were getting drunk and getting high, and they started chasing me around the house. Oh, no problem, touch of class. Hey, White Widow baby, welcome. I finally figured out how to look and see who was blocked, and I unblocked a few people that I didn't even know were blocked, so I didn't realize that me personally blocking people and being blocked on the channel was different. So everybody, bear with me, I'm still learning. Yeah, Alessia, let's just keep going. They started chasing me around the house, and they started ripping my clothes off. Hi, Anita Salyer. Glad to see you here. And I was scared for my life, and it got to the point where they were holding me down and ripping my clothes off, and I finally got up and ended up running into my mom and dad's room and locking the door. I stayed in there for like 2 hours before my brother got home. And my brother and my boyfriend, they were like best friends, and they had came in, and I told them what happened, and they immediately took me to the police station. I did a report on it because I was going to press charges on all 3 of them for what they did to me. And later on that night, my mom and dad had gotten home, and my dad pretty much made me go to the police station the next day, and I had to tell him that it was all like mistakes or whatever, because my dad didn't want me sending his son to prison. So there were 2. This is Theresa. There were 2. This was like Don and 2 of his friends. And Mary said, yeah, it was a bad situation. So you guys ended up dropping all those charges? Yeah, I had to drop them because my dad was really mad, and he was going to kick me out of the house if I didn't drop the charges. So this is me talking here. I wonder why she dropped the charges on the other two guys. Because it sounds like she dropped charges on all three of them. Hey, Sonia. I'm always happy to see you. Okay, so, Theresa. So when you were 13, he was obviously around the same age with his friends, and then your younger sister, which I don't know if she is in here tonight, she had considered coming on, and then you don't know if she's comfortable with that yet. But if she's comfortable tomorrow or a month from now, whenever she's ready and wants to, we're always here to help her or your whole family. And this is, I think, Mary. So it's kind of hard because obviously it's more her story to tell. I totally agree with Mary there. But she was 7 and he was approximately 15. And I know that there is a creator, her name is Tiffany, who has actually interviewed your niece. Oh, this is Theresa, I'm sorry. It's hard to tell sometimes here. If you guys haven't watched that in chat, you really should. I don't know if she still has that interview up or not, but yeah, Tiffany was the very first person to talk with Jeannie. It's a great interview. And one of the things that was talked about was that this started happening when she was approximately 4 to 5 years old. So that would be about the time you were 13 then, right? Yeah. And Mary says yes, because Jeannie is 7 years younger than I am. So yeah, that would make probably about 11 years old when the abuse started between her and Donnie. Because she was 4 at the time, she said, so Donnie would have been 11. Yes, and even an 11-year-old boy should know better than to be touching a 4-year-old little girl. I mean, he's got a 5-year-old daughter, and I just don't know. I just, Jeannie come out with this because she was thinking, because when we heard that Summer went missing, all this came back, about her abuse and everything. Because, here she is thinking, oh my gosh, she's got this 5-year-old little girl. And what if he's doing the same things to her as he was doing to me, meaning Jeannie? And so, she just came out with this. She don't want her 15 minutes of fame and, all this stuff. She just thought that it would help find Summer. If there was any way that maybe Donnie was doing the same thing to her. And then Theresa said, so do you know, obviously you would know, but do you know if your sister or have you talked to the police regarding Summer? And in this situation, have you guys been interviewed? Mary said, well, I know that we did call TBI when we first heard that Summer was missing. Hey, read what you saw. Welcome. I got to look at chat once in a while, I guess. Now, I would think so. Yeah. And we're going to get to more, too. I'm really puzzled why. Well, we're going to get to this other part. Oh, always. Love you, hon. Okay, so let's see. When we first heard Summer went missing, it was just a couple of days after that. She called TBI and let them know what happened in the past. And in my opinion, I'm sorry, but a leopard does not lose its spots. 10 years down the road, it's still going to pounce and prey. So, but that's just my opinion. In the first interview from last week, she didn't think Don had anything to do with with it or with Summer. So I wonder what made her change her mind in these 2 weeks. Okay, so statistically, leopards don't change their spots. So, I mean, I don't want to say anything about whether he did or didn't do anything to Summer. Obviously, we don't know the answer to that. I know that there has been a ton of speculation in social media. Yeah, which is exactly what it is, speculation. But law enforcement has made it very clear that everything is on the table at this point, and they have not pinpointed one thing or another or ruled one thing or another. So it's a lot of speculation. And with you guys having the history that you do, I mean, it makes it just really hard because of his history. And then, all the lies that he's coming out with and everything. It just really upsets me. It's like I don't understand. Well, I do understand why he's lying because he don't want to get into it, And every time it's mentioned, I don't know what that beanie is willing to do a lie detector test, and she wants Donnie to do one with her. I mean, Jeannie. I'm sorry, that's the transcript said Beanie. Jeannie is willing to do a lie detector test, and she wants Donnie to do one with her. I mean, she's willing to pay for everything, but you mention it to him, and he says absolutely nothing about it because he don't want to go there. Hi, Chris with Curiosity. Okay, I'm looking to see what I'm missing. Okay, I didn't know that she went on to Doug's because I never watched Doug. Don't mention the U channel, Alessia. I'm not allowed to mention that. Is that the channel where she said that Don actually helped her? Because someone has that. Okay, the Candace picture that I posted is that was the night that Candace was talking with Ernie on the phone and was vomiting and stuff because she was drunk on her ass. She'd been drinking all day. And that picture is, people were saying that was a gun. But if you see the whole uncropped picture, it's actually a camera tripod, and there's a tablet on there that's recording her. But, people crop the picture. I guess kind of like they did the handlebar on Don's bike. Remember that whole thing? Hi, Writing Fox. Cam had said once that CM went to Utah to meet Mary and them before coming to Tennessee. Huh. That's interesting. And he did. He admitted. Chris admitted to coaching Mary on what to say. And I read a conversation between him and I think it was Brandy about what to say and what not to say to the media. I don't know. I just think he's meddling. You guys already know I think that. He doesn't need to be meddling in these open cases and trying to steer them in the direction he wants them to go. Yeah, he knew Don was not hiding in the shed. He told people that. He knew he wasn't in there. That's why he didn't look. I'm not sure. I don't know who was with her. But there was a tablet. It was a tall tripod, and then it had a tablet on it. And yeah, I don't know if she was taking pictures. I don't know what the whole deal was, but it wasn't a gun. It was a tripod. That's just odd. Everything about this case is odd, actually. That's why they say it's outside of the norm, because none of it makes sense. Okay, Mary said everything, but you mention it to him and he says absolutely nothing about it because he don't want to go there, because he knows it's true, and I don't understand how he can go on public television and go on these interviews and sit there and say, oh, well, it was consensual. I'm sorry, but it's not consensual with a 7-year-old little girl, you know? It just not did you. So did you guys, this is Theresa, did you guys listen to his interview with the Interview Room? Chris McDonough, did you guys hear what Don had said about the situation, about going at it like he had a dirt bike or some type of bike, and they would go out and ride? They were both just kids and both, you know, participants. And I don't know, I was honestly, so when I listened to it, I was kind of taken back that he was saying that out loud. What time zone is Lisa? Eastern Standard Time. It's 9:30 here. I started at 9. Years ago, Don, yeah. Yes. Yes. We're on the same page, Ronnie, because Chris seems to have an odd fetish with sheds, doesn't he? He talks about sheds a lot. I don't know. He's all about the sheds. Absolutely 100% Bob. That is absolutely. What did not allow? I'm not about, no, we're not going to bash any victims. I'm just reading Mary's interview. Yes, we all know who Bob is pointing the finger at, don't we? Bob, don't get me started. Yeah, I think it's disgusting. I really do. I'm right there with you. Okay, so Theresa, I don't even know if they talked about the age difference, and the first thing I thought of was like she was like 7 or 8 and he was approximately 15. And you know what people don't understand is that if you haven't been abused, you know what I mean? If you haven't been sexually assaulted, I wonder if I'm not, I don't know how to move this so I'm maybe I'm just getting top chat. They could use a filter, Crafty with Amy. I don't think I said hi to you. Welcome. Yeah, Bob always, yeah. Bob and I don't have a problem saying what we think. Okay. I think what people don't understand is if you haven't been abused, you know what I mean? If you haven't been sexually assaulted and you don't know what goes on, and there's a lot of people that, you know, are saying, oh, well, you know, like, this is bull crap, and they're putting us down for it and saying, well, why didn't you come out 30 years ago with this? And if you haven't been abused, you don't know what we go through. Because I've been one, you know, my oldest sister, which is Debbie, I'm putting that in, abused me from the time I was 8 until I was 14. And this is another question I would like to ask Mary, is why she didn't press charges on Debbie's husband, her brother-in-law. Because 8 to 14, that is 6 years of abuse, sexual abuse. Why isn't she pressing charges on him? Because there weren't any. And I wouldn't think her dad would object to that, would he? Because brother-in-law really wasn't any relation to her. I don't know. I'd just like to know that. I know, Bob. We all love Bob. Everybody loves Bob. Well, except for one person who puts children's heads in memes. That person doesn't like Bob, but that's the exception. There's something wrong there, right? Okay, so my oldest sister's husband abused me. Yes, oh, it absolutely is. Yes, in some families and some cultures. It's really hard to explain at first because when you're a little kid and you start getting touched by somebody that you trust and you know it, you know that they come to you. And for me, it was like, oh, well, it's okay. This feels good and stuff. And it's like, no, that's not okay. Just don't feel good. This isn't right. And you're this little girl, and all this is going through your mind. And then when that doesn't work, your abuser starts threatening and saying, I'm going to kill you. Your parents, and I'm going to do harm to somebody. And you're a little kid, and it's like you don't know what to do. So you're putting this mindset, and the abuse just goes on for years, and then you come out with it. And then if you come out with it, the people you tell don't believe you. And then the abuse, you go quiet again. And then it just starts up again. And it keeps going on and on and on. And then at the end of your abuse or whatever, you kind of just stick it in the back of your mind, and then you just move on with your life. And it's always there in the back of your mind. But then all of a sudden, 30 years later, something comes up and it triggers. And you're like, well, I really do think that's why Jeannie came out, because it all came back to her when she heard Summer went missing. And she just wants to get her story out there and get it straight. This is not right, and she just didn't want Donnie abusing his daughter like he did her. Okay, so, hi, No Scam Zone. Was guilty knowledge in chats during the Summer Wells search? No Scam Zone. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Welcome. Yeah, guilty knowledge. I don't know what you mean. Okay, so for anybody coming in, this is True Crime with T. Theresa from CriminaliTy. It's her second interview with Don's stepsister, Mary Hartman. And I'm reading the transcript of the interview here. Okay, so Theresa said, I hate to ask it this way, but did you guys worry about him having a daughter? I mean, was that like a conversation that anybody ever had prior? Or was all this kind of pushed out and everybody thought like, okay, everybody's grown? Like, what was the thoughts when he was having his own daughter? Well, his first daughter, and this is Mary, I didn't really know about any abuse that was going on or anything until she said something to my daughter. And then I guess she also said something to Trish about Donnie abusing her sexually. And then also his son, little Donnie, has came out and said the sexual abuse in that house was so horrific that he would never ever say anything about it because it was so bad. So, we're just trying to get this out there and say, what, if he done this to his older kids and my sister, it just needs to be told. People need to know about this, especially the FBI and stuff. Because, it's just the abuse just happens over and over and over again, in my opinion. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. Oh, first time I went as guilty knowledge, my screen name. Oh. I like No Scam Zone. I like guilty knowledge, too. Hey, Abundance Creates. Welcome. I hope it went well. Well, Chris the Curiosity. Okay, and this is me speaking. Both Margie and Donnie have come out and denied that this happened. And so has Pam, their mother. Actually, his son said that Don did not abuse them and never even spank them. So who knows what the truth is? I don't know. Yeah, they did. They said that they were never. Yep. Margie and Donnie have both each done one interview. And I want to, oh, hi, Rebecca Mattis. I am reading a transcript from an interview. Nope. Okay, so, so Theresa says, I honestly can't imagine it. I personally have never been through anything like that. And it instills an anxiety in me and never going through with it. I can't imagine if I had. I applaud you and your sister for speaking out, knowing that people will say they're troublemakers, they're lying, they want this, they want that, and right, and we haven't ever been offered money for this or nothing, This is Mary. I kept quiet there for a while, but when Donnie came out and started saying all this stuff, I was like, dude, why is he lying, And it just really upset me because this isn't helping anybody, especially when he comes out and he lies, and it's do what you think of. Okay. Oh, this is Teresa. What do you think of the comment that he made about everybody wanting the inheritance? No, that does guilty knowledge. Sounds vaguely familiar. He did Pam. He did Pam. Are you saying he sexually abused Pam? I don't think so, Lisa. Okay. What are we going on? She hasn't spoken to Margie, but she did see Donnie. She said every couple of weeks because he lived right by there. I know Trish is really close with Don's son, Donnie. Oh, we have a great chat here, Crafty with Amy. It's always a great chat. Everybody here's great. Very respectful. No trolls. Okay, so let's see. So Mary, when you made that comment, I just started laughing because for one thing, the will has been made out like this was like 5-10 years ago, okay? When they made their last will. And I asked my mom about it a couple of years ago. And I said, so what happens with the house and everything? And she said, well, the house has to be sold and all the bills are to be paid off. And if there's anything left, it's to be divided between all the kids, which is 6 kids of my mom's and 3 kids of my dad. So that's 9 kids. And I don't know where Donnie got saying that my dad is leaving him the house and all the money. Because for one thing, my older brother has power of attorney over my mom and dad and all their finances. And they had taken out, they had refinanced the house. They've done a reverse mortgage loan on the house, and I think they owe like $60,000-$80,000 on that. So when they end up dying, that's going to have to be repaid back. And then also the house is in such disarray, it's just falling apart, Probably when they die, I'm guessing the house is probably going to end up being bulldozed down, to tell you the truth. And so I don't know where Donnie even got that. My dad's leaving him the house. I just laughed about that. So, and then I want to clarify one other rumor. This is Theresa. We're talking about properties. The property in Tennessee was Don's mother's property, correct? It was not your dad's property. Right. It was Mary saying, right, it was his mother and her husband's property. No, I don't think so either. Oh, did I miss somebody? No. I'm sorry. It's a little different from when I'm just talking and can watch the chat than reading these transcripts. So I apologize for not being right on chat, but I have to keep my eyes on this transcript. Oh yes. Tell us the news about Tilly, Wisconsin Mama, please. Okay, so yeah, right, that was his mom's property. So Theresa said from the last time we talked, one of the posts that he had made right before that or after that, I think, he was saying that, this is basically his family's fault. It was right before his family's fault that all this was happening or something along those lines. Has anything come from that? And she said, see, that's another thing. He was just lying because he was sitting there saying, well, they're just mad at me. That's why they're coming out with these allegations and stuff. They're just mad at me because my dad's giving me the house when he dies. And I was just like, what? Are you kidding me? It's just laughable because there's just nothing there, And like you said, there's 9 of you. So this is Theresa. So that would be divided between the 9 of you, doesn't leave much. Right, which I don't think there's going to be. So you wanted to talk a little bit about some of the more current things that are happening with the family and things that have been posted online. Is there anything specific? And Mary said, I wrote down some things I wanted to talk about. Theresa said, perfect. Chat's going by pretty quickly, but I think I saw your sister in here. That would be Jeannie. So I just wanted to say hi. And if she wants to come on, that would be awesome. I don't know if she wants to or not. Okay, so then here's Mary. I know that he did call my mom or dad probably 3 or 4 weeks back, probably about a week after Summer went missing, bragging about all the money they were getting. And they went and got $1,000 cell phones from the GoFundMe account. And my dad thought that was pretty crappy, and they had ended up getting in an argument over that. And then Donnie didn't call him for a couple of days. So Don said that in one of his posts, I think this is Theresa, that you guys could have everything and that he was just never going to speak to his dad again, right? And Mary said, yeah, because after he said that, it wasn't more than like 2 days later, he called my dad again. And he just sits there and he calls my dad and complains to him. And he sits there and accuses all of us about his problems for all of his problems. And then he gets my dad all upset. And then my dad calls me, and my other sister, and he's like, what's going on? And it's like, Dad, it's not true. Just don't even listen to it, So he gets my dad all upset. And I don't think that's right for him to be doing that. Theresa said, this has got to be hard enough on your parents as it is. Mary said it's really hard on them because, on the one hand, he's got his only son calling pretty much every day and, saying stuff to him and lying to him. And then he's got us kids on the other hand, and he's going, well, why are you guys doing this? It's just like, it's my dad. Just don't even listen to it. I mean, I had to delete Donnie off my Facebook and Candace and everything because it was getting too much for me, and it's just really a hard thing right now. I just don't know all the things that Donnie's saying and stuff. I keep thinking that maybe they do have something to do with it just because of all the stories they just keep changing, you know? And it's just like, well, you know, what it is, you know, it's like first she was so sure she was abducted, and then he put the blame on, you know, the guy he was working with, which was Dudley. And then he put the blame on drug dealers, and, you know, he just keeps putting the blame on the other people and stuff. And it's like, I just don't understand why he keeps coming up with different stories, you know? And then all of us talk about going to church and stuff, and that just blows my mind because he's never been a churchgoer, you know, ever. And we talked about that the last time, that he gets prison religion. Okay, let me look at chat and see what's going on. Oh, yes, Tilly, are we? Okay. Good news about Tilly. Think that about Margie. Okay. Hi, Running Bear. Hi, Janine R33. This is me talking. I'm reading Theresa from CriminaliTy's second interview with Don's stepsister, Mary Hartman. I did not hear Don say that his dad paid for his red car. Actually, no one's really been able, I have not been able to find out how he got that money. And trust me, I've looked and asked. And Mary said nobody in the family can figure it out either. I have no idea. I really don't. He also bought the white truck in Utah at the same time. So who knows? But okay. All right. Okay, here's Teresa again. When Summer first went missing, when you guys first heard Summer missing, and I may have asked you this last time and just forgot the answer, but what was your first initial reaction that when Summer was missing? Mary said, my very first initial reaction, to be truthful with you, I thought Donnie had something to do with it. That was my very first reaction, was he done something with her? I know it, but then I started looking at his interviews. You know, that first one, I could tell he had been crying and stuff. But, you know, so it kind of made me think, well, maybe he didn't have something to do with it, you know, and now I just like, God, I don't know. You know, it's like, because him and Candace's stories just don't mix, you know? And then also, I had seen that photo going around with Summer by the milk. And in the background, people are saying that, oh, well, Don's car was there, or Candace's red car was there. And Donnie's going, oh, no, that was a red tote. But I blew the picture up and I took a magnifying glass, and you can clearly see it is Candace's car in that picture. Yeah, it's beyond the tailgate. You can clearly tell it's her car. Yeah, it's okay. No. All right. I'm back in chat now. Yes, Don is definitely an original, isn't he? I'm saying original what? The red car was not financed. No, Deborah Ann. It was paid for in cash. I ran a report on it. He bought it from Wallace Imports in Johnson City. And I can't remember, 20, I'd have to look back, 24,000 or 26,000. It had 12 miles on it when he got it. Yeah. Oh. No. No, that was, she showed a fake bank receipt of cash in her ATM. But no, I have the receipt for the car. I mean, I have the bill of sale. And there's no lien on the car. And Penny got the copy of the title, and there's no lien on the title. And I also know that there's no lien on the title for another reason, but I can't say that. But yeah, it was 20. I want to say $24,592. I don't know. I'd have to look. It's a cross truck. Crafting with Amy. Why do you keep saying am I running late? It's 9:57 here, and we've been going for 56 minutes. And they wonder why we wonder. It's very suspicious. Where do you get that money? So anyway, we're going to get to this because okay, so here, this is me talking. We're going to talk about the tail. Yeah, there's no car behind them in the milk jug video. That is a tote. It's in the back. It's not beyond the tailgate. It's beyond the front of the topper. It's in front of the tailgate. And in the video, you can see in the rearview mirror that the road behind the truck is totally clear. There are no vehicles behind them whatsoever. So, a lot of people said that at the beginning, and that turned out to be false. Well, you said that about Wisconsin, but I don't know if that's true in Tennessee. Did Mary say she had to delete? Yes. That's a very good question, Anastasia. That is a very good question. Oh, welcome. Anyway, I forgot to say hi to you. That is a good question. Now that you say that, I'm kind of stunned. Yeah, I'm stunned. Well, that's why it's good that we're reading through this, right? Yes, very good question. Like, what? What? Receipts? What receipts? For the car? Yeah. Look on my community tab. Yeah, he said, hi, Georgia Sky. He said, he said he said $400 a month. I'm not going to argue about Don said because Don's a liar. I'm sorry. Don tells a story every time he turns around, a different one. And none of them are true. So what's wrong with, why can't Crafty with Amy, why can't she see me? Somebody help her, please. I don't know why she can't see me. No, I'm kind of worried. Why can't she see me? Does anybody know? Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. She had to have, because that's how Rose Meyer knew, because she had not talked to Candy in 10 years, and she saw that Summer was missing on Facebook in a group, and so then she called Candy. So yeah, it was pretty much all over. I don't. Okay. I still see Mary's pic. Hasn't started. Yeah. Somebody tell Amy to go out and come back. Dotson and Robin, I don't know. I didn't know they did. Thank you. I don't know. No scam zone. 999 or something. Oh, yeah. Oh, so she's okay. Good. I'm glad that you're with us, Amy. Woo! I was worried about that. Okay. So, okay. Oh my God, Deborah Ann. I can't eat a lot of gummy bears because they're too heavy. They weigh down my stomach. Okay, so she goes on about, here we're back to Mary talking about the tailgate. You can clearly tell it's her car, and I'll have to take a closer look. Okay. You can get a magnifying glass. You can see the decals on the back of her car and the windows, the way it's shaped. That is her car. So yeah, I wonder where that red tote is that she says that it is. I wonder where that is right now. Yeah, her mom had it or something, or took it with her. I don't know. Have you guys? This is Theresa. Have you guys, or your sister or niece, has anybody reached out and actually talked with Don since Summer's been missing? His biological sisters and my dad are the only ones that I know of. I believe that there is a Datsun dealership, but that is not the Datsun dealership that Don bought. Don didn't buy it from that dealership. Don bought it from Wallace Imports in Johnson City. Nothing to do with any Datsun. Okay, so yeah, so here. Hi, Sandra. Okay, so this is me talking here. She said that she hasn't reached out and talked to Don since Summer's been missing. So that almost makes you think she was Facebook friends with Don before Summer went missing, right? Because, I mean, I would consider that talking to him, right? I don't know. Okay. So, she said his biological sisters and my dad are the only ones that I know of. Theresa said, okay, what about your mom? Mary said, no, I don't think he really talks to my mom too much unless she answers the phone when he calls. But that's about it. But Donnie does not like my mom, and he said some bad stuff about her. And it's totally not true. My mom is the most sweetest person you ever know. She would give you her last 2 cents, out of her purse, if that's all she had, just so it would help you, and what I mean. And I don't know where he gets that from, that he's saying that, oh, she was so mean to me. No, my mom was not. My mom was always there for him, and I never ever once seen her, even, be telling to take the garbage out or something, like when he was 15 or something. That's about the only thing that I've ever really seen her be. And Theresa said, was your mom more the disciplinarian or was your dad? Am I thinking, hi, Sandra. Oh my God, Deborah Ann. Oh, hi, accidentally on purpose. Oh no, isn't this Thursday? Thursdays and Mondays at 9. Okay. Have a good night, Wisconsin Mama. We're glad to hear that Tilly is doing better. Okay, Teresa says, was your mom more the disciplinarian or was your dad? Mary said, no, my dad was the disciplinarian. Yes, definitely. There was a lot of times that he wasn't home because he was a truck driver and he was over the road, all 50 states. And a lot of times my mom went with him too, but when he did get home, we would definitely get the wrath of my dad if any of us were, bad while he was gone. Hi, Tracy Delahanty. Welcome. So, Teresa said, what did your older siblings take care of you guys and then report back to your parents on what you guys were doing when they were gone? Mary said, yeah, well, it was mostly us because we were in our teenage years when my dad was trucking. So when my dad, when he first started out, he was in the Army. I thought this was interesting. For quite a few years. And then he got out and got married and had kids. And then he started trucking. And, when he first had kids and stuff, then he quit that. And then he got a job up on a hill, Air Force Base. And he worked up there for 25 years as an aircraft mechanic. And then when he was done with that, he quit and started trucking again. So he was gone quite a bit in our teenage years, providing for the family, being the breadwinner. And Teresa, okay, so back to more recent then. So you guys haven't talked to Don. Has anybody reached out to Candace? Mary said, I don't think so. I think the only person that really talked to Donnie and maybe Candace is his biological sister. I'm assuming she's talking about Sonia. She didn't say which sister. Okay. So back to Teresa. Is there any other things that you had written down that you wanted to make sure that we address before we take questions from chat? Here we go. Mary. Yeah, there was one rumor going around that Donnie had bought the red car for Candace so she would drop the charges on him back in October when he had them charges put against him. I heard that's why she dropped the charges on him. I don't know how much of that is true, and that's all she says about that. So Teresa said, well, I can go ahead and take questions from chat if you're okay with that. And if something else comes up that we forgot to cover, we can go back. What's a specific reason listed as to why the boys were taken? Do you know? Hi, Wondering Hearts. Yes. Hi, Betty Smith. Welcome. Who did I miss? I think I got everybody. Yeah, I think it might be later in this interview too, where she said she told her mom about her sister Debbie's husband, and her mom told her to just forget it. Yeah, I think that's later on here. Okay. So what's the specific reason listed as to why the boys were taken? Do you know? Oh, lemon, bittersweet. Hi, hon. Yay. Always good to see you. I was a trucker for 42 years. Yeah, it's not an easy job, is it? Attention to those in the bushes. I love those bushes. Those are cool. Okay. This is Mary. I don't know why the boys were taken, but I did see the one interview with Donnie, and he said it was because he started drinking again and said he got upset and took off. And then he started drinking, and then he came back. And, before he took off, I guess, that day when he left for a while, before that, he had been drinking, I guess. And he said that's why they took the boys. So, this Theresa, that's what I heard. That's the same thing that we were told, is that he had gone back to drinking. And that, I don't want to say the wrong word because I don't want to misquote what he said. This is Theresa, that he has more violent tendencies when he does drink. And that it's not a direct quote, so don't take it that way. But yeah, they took him because he had been drinking and was having a hard time. And Donnie said that in that interview, so I'm guessing that's why they took him. So a person in the chat wants to know, what does your family think? Oh, in prime time. What does your family think happened to Summer? Mary said we talked about this a little last time, but we were all over the place, and you guys were all over the place. I don't know if you guys have come up with any more. We just know we can just speculate, just like everyone else. We really don't know. I mean, a lot of us, know that Donnie keeps talking and keeps opening his mouth. He won't shut up to save his life. That's true. And it's just more stories keep coming out. So we don't know. We're just baffled. Well, it's hard because as a social media people where families don't speak, we're like, why aren't they saying anything? And why aren't they making public pleas for their children or their family members? And when they do speak, we overanalyze and analyze anything that they do have to say. I don't know in that situation. I don't know what the right move would be in that situation. If my child was missing, I would probably either be in a hole somewhere crying, or I'd be all over the place like a crazy person. I don't know. Luckily, I've never had to deal with that. But it is a catch-22. We go for both families. Like it's either they're talking too much and they say too many things, or they're not talking, and why aren't they saying anything, right? And it seems to me it doesn't matter what you say or what you don't say, because they're going to say what they're going to say anyway, I mean, you say anything and they will pick it apart like you will not believe. Okay, and then Theresa said the stepsisters have not met Summer. They have met Candace's oldest, or I should say oldest son, Candace, and Don's oldest son went to Utah with them, but they have not met Summer, right? And Louisiana girl asked, did Don confess to anybody in your family, particularly about your dad, about the SA-ing? And I'm assuming of your younger sister. Did he ever admit to that before this conversation with Chris McDonough? And Mary said, I think after the interview with Chris, he had called my dad. Now, this is just what I heard from my other sister. And she said that he had called and confessed to my dad that, yes, he did touch Jeannie and mess around with her when she was younger. And Theresa said, you said this was after the interview with the phone call that was played with Chris. And Mary said, I think it was like the day after that he had called my dad and confessed that, yes, he had been messing around with her, because I was talking to another sister of mine, and she goes, well, Donnie called dad and confessed everything. And I was like, oh, well, it's about time, and my dad's not too happy with him about it. Theresa said, so did your dad talk to Jeannie about it? Mary said, no, they're not talking, because when all this started out and Trish came out and, went live, and then Jeannie came out with their stuff and everything, and my dad it's too much for him to handle. And his first reaction was like, he called me and he's like, you need to call Jeannie and Trish and tell them that they're kicked out of the family. I don't ever want to see them again, and I had to call them and tell them, because I didn't want them showing up with my mom and dad, and then my dad jumping all over them. They don't even know what's going on, and so I had to call him and tell them, and so no, they haven't had any contact with my dad at all. It pretty much goes through me. Okay, I'm going to look at chat here. Did I miss anything? Yes. Well, yeah, and I think, Rebecca, I think I talked about this last time too, is that I was watching a documentary, it was that Soft White Underbelly, and it was a Hispanic woman, and she was talking about, she said, I'm Mexican, and in Mexican culture, she said the men can do anything they want as long as they provide a home and food. She said nobody ever says anything against them. They could do anything they want, and that's just the way it is there. So it's kind of sad, because really, children, what would you do if you were a child? Oh, you're welcome, hon. Where am I? Sorry, I had a brain freeze there. So yeah, in some cultures, I mean, where are the children going to go? There's literally no one cares. There's no one to talk to. They literally have nowhere to go, nowhere to turn, no way to escape that. Can't imagine what that would be like. Oh, I think he must have. Yeah, he did say that. Don't like Don treating Mary, treating her. Okay. So Mary, so no, they haven't had any contact with my dad at all. It pretty much goes through me. So Theresa said, I have, out of all your direct siblings, out of your mom's children, then there's 6 of you, 2 boys, 4 girls. 1 boy, 5 girls, 2 boys. Okay. Let's see. Jax wants to know, does Mary know Candace very well? If so, does Mary think she's lying or telling the truth? I'd say something here, but I don't think I have to. Okay. So Mary said, yeah, I don't know. And her stories don't match either. So I don't know. I can't really believe either one right now, because those stories keep changing. I pick up on little things, with their interviews, and I keep going over all their interviews that they've been doing and talking. And and I stop and I think, well, now wait a minute. Didn't they say in that last interview, something different? And it's just like, so I don't know, I don't know what to believe anymore, because their stories keep changing. And like I said, Donnie won't shut his mouth to save his life. I agree with her there. So he seems to really enjoy Facebook posts. He does, and that's another thing. I was looking through one of them, Summerwell's discussion groups and stuff, and somebody started talking, and I had asked a question or something, and then all of a sudden they started talking about my mom and saying stuff about my mom and how she treated Donnie when he was growing up, and how he went through all this and that and this and that. And I'm thinking, well, now wait a minute, how do you know what I mean? And so anyway, I came to figure out that it was either Candace or Donnie or both of them. They keep going on Facebook under an assumed name and, start digging. Like me and Jeannie, they catch us through in these chats and they start, saying stuff. So of course we're going to start defending our mom and stuff, and it's like, well, now wait a minute. So I'm thinking that, I'm sure it's them, and to me, it's like, dude, you have a 5-year-old girl that's gone missing and all you can do is play on Facebook. You think this is nothing but a game? And I put on there, you guys think this is nothing but a game, but I know that this is either Candace or Donnie. I don't understand what you guys are doing, because if it was my daughter missing, I'm sure I wouldn't be on Facebook, and it's just a lot of their comments. I had went back later, like a couple hours later, to pick up them comments that they had sent, and they deleted them, They had actually deleted their comments because they knew I was onto them. And that pisses me off, because it's like, really, so you think they have fake Facebook names? This is Theresa. And going into Facebook groups, Mary said, yeah, I do. I really do. And, in one of them interviews, that one that Chris said that Chris McDonough had done with that one lady, it was just a couple of days ago. I forgot what her name was, but there was somebody there getting on him in the comments. And apparently, I think that was the Voices Behind the Wall interview. Yes, I think so. And apparently somebody had been giving him trouble in the chats or something. And he was there and he was like, you don't think I know who you are? And I think it was Donnie, trying to mess with me and Chris. McDonough was saying, what you don't know, like, this is confusing. I know who you are, so you can just keep going. Put your snide remarks on and calling me names and doing whatever you wanted to do. But do you know if they've gone out at all? Okay, this is Theresa. Do you know if they've gone out at all and searched for Summer yet? Do you know if they're putting flyers up yet? No, and that's another thing. This is Mary. Why aren't they putting up flyers or anything? They're not doing nothing to even find her. I saw on one social media post, and somebody in the chat might correct me if I'm wrong, that they had, oh, you're talking about Linda, It's a Crime, when Chris McDonough was on there. Okay. Okay. That during one of the prayer vigils, that they were seen putting up a couple of flyers. But then I don't know how much they're out actually handing out flyers or putting up flyers. Yeah, I don't think they are, and then at the prayer vigils and stuff, I mean, people are recording this and they just don't act like they're interested. You know what I mean? I just don't understand this. It baffles me. It's just, I think a lot of us like this, if we were in that position, what would we be doing? And then in all fairness, we try to go, well, we're not in the position, so we don't know what we would do. And we go back and forth because there's so many unknown answers. Before I get to, Crazy Crime Chick's question, there was another question. This is Theresa. Do you happen to know anything more about the timeline of when the police are saying Summer actually went missing? Do you have any specifics about that timeline? Mary said, just what I heard, when the 911 call, and there's another thing. There's so much discrepancy there. You know what I mean? I mean, there's like a 2-3 hour window there from the time that they supposedly got home until she went missing. Well, and with the interview with Candace and stuff, I mean, she's, we got home and put groceries away and planted flowers. And I'm sorry, but that timeline, you could be done within 30 to 35 minutes doing that. You know what I mean? And there's like a 2-3 hour window there. It's like, what happened between that timeline, So that kind of makes me wonder. But as far as the time goes, like I said, I just go off 911 column. What, Donnie and Candace are saying. Yes, 5. I mean, we don't have much else because law enforcement isn't putting out too much of the information yet, obviously. Have some stuff they're holding. Okay, so this is Theresa. So, okay, I'm going to look at, she had a second here. No, I don't think he was, Sonia. And then I saw he was married before Karen, Don's mom, and his wife divorced him for cruelty. So I don't know if you can read too much into that because that was before no-fault divorce, and one party had to take the fall. Maybe he agreed to. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. Chris went to Utah and talked to Mary. Hey, Crafting, you're all caught up now, I see. Hopefully. Okay, so Crazy Crime Chick did a super chat and asked, was Don abused as a child? Mary was like, I don't know. Like before we met them, I wasn't around, so I don't know. But when my mom and dad got together and stuff, there was no abuse. You know what I mean? There was, sure, there was a lot of kids and, and mom and dad in that little trailer and stuff. But there was never any abuse, unless maybe, one of us needed our asses whipped or something for doing something, other than that. Okay, just a minute. Haley. Okay. We know we talked about quite a few of them. This is Theresa. The one with Trish is on Tiffany Marie's channel. And then Chris McDonough obviously has quite a few now with the Summer Wells case on his channel, The Interview Room. And then the one that Mary is referencing is on the channel I can't talk about. Okay, so let's see. This is Theresa. Let's see. Did Don try? We talked about this a little bit last time too. Did Don try to sell his oldest son with his first wife? Mary said yes. A lot of people are saying it was both kids, but it was just little Donnie when he was just a couple of years old. His ex-wife had come to my mom's with the kids, and it was late at night. It was like 11 to 12 o'clock at night, and they were all getting ready to go to bed. And she came in and she was crying and she said that they had just caught Donnie down on, it's famous 25th Street down here in Ogden. And she said he was out there trying to sell little Donnie because he needed drugs and they were broke. So he was going to trade little Donnie for drugs. So Theresa said, was he going to trade him for drugs or was he literally just selling him on the corner? Mary said, I don't know, I guess. I'm not quite sure what he was doing. But just because he was trying to get drugs. I think he was stopping people saying, hey, do you want to buy my kid for $20 or $50, whatever. When Donnie got on drugs, he was just really weird. He was out of it. I mean, I ain't no saint, and I will admit I do smoke marijuana. And when we were kids, me and Donnie used to smoke marijuana together all the time. But every time he got high, he would turn into this like zombie. It's like we would quit talking and he would just sit there and like be like in this trance or something. And it's like I would be like, Donnie, you know what's wrong with you? And he would just sit there and he would just be like, what you know? And it's like, dude, what is wrong with you? I've never seen anybody act the way you know before when they smoke marijuana. But yeah, he didn't do good on drugs. He just turned into a zombie. And then when he got into harder drugs, because what he was trying to allegedly sell his oldest child for was not marijuana. No, he was shooting up and everything. He was into heroin and all kinds of drugs. So yeah, I remember once when he got out of prison and I hadn't seen him. He had been in there for a couple of months, probably about 6 months or so. But before that, he went in. I hadn't seen him for a couple months because he was just out doing drugs and be able to do whatever. And I remember he came home and had tracks all up and down his legs and arms. And it was terrible. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, it's just bad anyway. So somebody brought up last time we did talk about this. Okay, this is Theresa. I was actually under the impression before I'd spoke to Mary the first time that he had tried to sell both of his children. So Mary had clarified in the first live we did that it was not his daughter, that his ex-wife had told her that it was Donnie Jr., so his firstborn. What are we... Wait a minute, what's going on? Yeah, I don't know. I totally think Jeannie is 100% telling the truth. I try to hop around, but I will check for those specific interviews. Yeah, there's a lot of opinions flying around. Oh, yeah. No, I don't see anybody being mean. Is there something that I am missing? Okay. No, Scam Zone, I'm not sure that is true. There's different stories about that also. Pam denies that ever happened. Trish said that she remembers that because she was there that night and saw them come in. But when Donnie was 2, Trish would have been about 6 months old. And I don't think that Margie was born yet for another year. So that the times just don't match up. So I don't know. It's hard to get everything to... Oh, don't go, Amy. Don't go. He Prismo's pics with him to pick up drugs. Yes, that's the story I heard. He was so high, he forgot he had him with him and came home without him, and Pam went down and picked him up. Yeah, good night, Crafty with Amy. I'm sorry that you're leaving. Okay. Okay. Don't fight with each other in chat. Yeah, that's... That's what she's saying in this chat. Mary's just saying what she thinks or what she's gone, back and forth with. And I don't know that Don did anything to Summer. I don't know if anyone in chat has proof. Please feel free to share that with TBI, and we'll put the phone number up for you. Other than that, we don't know what happened. And so Mary's here to tell her story from her childhood and her life. And please don't discredit her. And this would be the same when Don's on a channel. You can't discredit him. Don't go on there and just troll. Just because we think one way or the other, because we have no idea what happened to Summer. And we don't, yet we have assumptions, we have theories, we have thoughts, but there's no reason to disrespect each other. And don't disrespect people on panel because we think differently. Yeah, I second all that. Okay, let's see. Theresa said, we just kind of think, maybe this information might help find her. You never know, right? And at this point, and in fairness, the reason we did this live tonight was in response to some of the things that he has said about you and your family, your siblings, your parents, or your mother. And it's like we've talked about with your dad the last time. Like you guys have known each other since you were 4, and that is your dad, whether he was your birth dad or not. So I don't know why that some people just like to be mean. I don't want anybody to be mean about anything because we don't know what happened. So let's just listen and try to put the pieces together the best we can for the information that we have. Because we're not law enforcement and we don't know what they know. And we don't, because they haven't told us anything. Somebody did ask, let me go back and see if I can find it real quick. A lot of people were saying, thank you, Mary, for coming up. None of us would want our lives under a microscope. That's for sure. Absolutely not. And nobody's saying that he is currently on drugs. We don't have that information. We don't know that. We're just speaking about what happened in childhood. So then Theresa says, do you happen to know anything about Grandma Candace's current status? Do you know anything about that? Mary said, I don't. I've just seen some, stuff in chats about her leaving and stuff, and that's about it. Yeah, I really don't know anything about her. Theresa said, okay. Sandy asked, why do you think that Don and Candace are so upset over the shed? And obviously there's no fact. By this is literally asking Mary what she thinks. Is that the one where Chris was interviewing Candace and he thought maybe Donnie was hiding in the shed there? So there's 2 sheds that seem to come into play. Well, there's more than 2 sheds, but the 2 that seem to really come into play is the white looking one that's on the property, and then there's one that's down at the end of the property that seems to be of interest because when Don came home, he passed his own driveway, hi Bootsy, and went to that shed to see if Summer was there and found the boys playing there and then went back. Then there's the shed that's like higher up, closer to the house, that Chris had first suggested that he thought possibly Don was in. But then Don said he was not in, so either shed. Okay. Do you have an opinion on the one? I think they're upset about the one that was up there when Chris was doing the interview with Candace, because he said, well, I think maybe Donnie was in there because when they went in the basement, the television was on, and he thinks maybe before they went down there, Donnie was down there watching TV, and he got up and took off and went into the shed. And so I do think that's probably why they were all upset, because he had just mentioned that he thought that Donnie in the past. So I think it got Candace and Donnie pretty upset about it. I don't know why it would get him upset, but myself, I would just be like, okay, and just kind of blow it off. Yeah, I wasn't in the shed, and that's kind of weird that you thought I was, but I wasn't. So I can just speculate just like everybody else on it. Chris said that he knew Don was not in that shed then. How did Don end up? Okay, this is not in the. How did Don end up leaving his mother's home to go live with his dad when Karen and Don's dad split? Karen took the girls, and Don's dad had custody of the boy, of Don. So I think I answered that. Can her dad be taken seriously? Hi, Michaelia. I am said on a panel at times her dad didn't even recognize. Yeah. Well, 2.5 years ago, she said he had 6 months to live, was bedridden, had dementia, and was on, I don't know, had liver, stage 4 cancer. That's what she said in the last interview. Hi, Bootsy. Do I think summer's in Tennessee? Yes. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't know if she did or not. I don't know. Josh said he wouldn't. I don't know if Josh did either. I don't know. Yeah, Jeannie dropped her charges long ago. Yeah, I don't know. Or some people just leave their TV on all day. I know that for a fact because I've seen it. And they leave it on even if nobody's home, the TV's on. So, who knows what was going on there. Okay, 1.5 years ago. I knew she backed out. Okay. So, okay, we're talking about, okay. So, Theresa said, I don't know the laws in Utah, but apparently there's no statute of limitations on essay in Utah. The few people I have seen, have you or your sister or any of the other ones that we've spoken, has anybody considered actually going to law enforcement, going to the district attorney, especially now that he's recorded saying that it did happen? Yeah, actually, this is Mary. Jeannie's been trying to set up a polygraph, and I believe there was a few times that she even called him out on and said, I'll do a polygraph anytime. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to her last night, and she said that she even got a hold of the Steve Wilkos show because she wants to polygraph, and she wants Donnie to take one too. But every time it's mentioned, if you notice in any of the interviews that he's done, there's not one time that he will. He has even said, oh yeah, sure, I'll put the polygraph, because he knows he will fail, because he knows what happens. He knows what he did to my sister all those years ago. And by asking him to take one or ask him about it, he won't say one word to you. But yeah, he'll come back out and say, oh, well, it was consensual. Really? Okay, yeah. 15 and 7 or 11 and 4. That's the end, 7 years old. that's only 2 years older than Summer. You know, what would he be doing if somebody was preying on his daughter like that? Right. So Sandy makes the point of why would a polygraph be needed when he's now recorded admitting that it happened? And Mary says, well, what he's admitting to is he's admitting saying that it was consensual. It was not consensual. This is a 7-year-old little girl we're talking about and a 15-year-old teenager who knows better. Theresa said, I have a question that I wanted to ask about Jeannie. Oh, ask about this. And I don't know if you can answer it, if this is more for Jeannie, but he made a really big deal about this first cousin thing. Okay, here's Mary. This was laughable when he brought that up, that Jeannie and her first husband, her ex-husband were cousins. That I started laughing about that because it's a big joke in our family is what it is. This is odd to me and I can never figure this out. I thought Chris said that, yeah, there was nothing inappropriate on too. Yes. I agree, Anastasia, yes. It did. I swear he said that 2 detectives came in and interviewed Don at the jail. I remember that very clearly. Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so this is Mary, and I can't figure this out. My grandmother's sister, so my great aunt, married into her ex-husband's family. She married her ex-husband's grandfather. What? What? So there's no blood relationship there. But when they first started dating, it was just a big joke in the family, like, you know, oh, you're dating your twice removed cousin or something, you know? Okay, when they started dating, it was just a big joke in the family. So I think that's where Donnie was saying, well, it was her cousin. Oh, yes, don't get me started. That was the last show we went into CM's reporting. And I got more coming on that, I hope. So I think that's where Donnie was saying, well, it was her cousin. There's no blood relationship there. So it's grandma's sister's husband. Okay, my great aunt married her ex-husband's grandfather. What? Okay. That's a new one. This is like one of those, like my neighbor told my sister, who told my mom, who told the dog kind of thing. And it's like very hard to keep track of. So, Theresa says, okay, so technically it's your great aunt and it's like a second cousin removed once or a cousin twice. Mary said, well, that was just a joke in the family. It was a joke going around saying they were cousins. But there's no blood relationship there. Okay, so we've gone over that 3 times. So what are your thoughts on, do you still have a relationship? Okay, this is Theresa. CM wouldn't speculate. That's me saying that. Okay, Theresa. So what are your thoughts on, do you still have a relationship with little Donnie, who's not so little anymore? He's grown. And, you know, a lot came up about his charges from his girlfriend being, you know, he was approximately 19. No, he was 18. And she was 14. Right, you know, and when I heard about it, I heard it from my mom. But, you know, I don't think she really knew the age difference herself, because I always heard it was like 17 and she was like 15 or something, you know, in age difference. But then I started looking up the records and everything, and it does say that he had just, I think little Donnie had just barely turned 19 when he got charged, and his girlfriend was 14. Okay, that's what it says. I actually, This is me. I have the sworn affidavit from the police officer, the arrest affidavit. I should post that. But he was 18, she was 14. They waited until he turned 19 and then arrested him. So, now they have Romeo Juliet laws where if it's a 4-year age difference or less, they don't put you on the sex offender registry. I just kind of feel sorry. This was his girlfriend. They wanted to get married. I don't know. I just kind of felt sorry for him. I just think he's tainted by Don's perversions. And, everybody's saying his son did the same thing. Well, no, he's, didn't go after a prepubescent girl. Yeah, ex-detective, but yeah. I don't know. Do you think Candace is a liar, though? I guess. I don't know what Candace thinks. I'm not even trying to go into her head and figure that out. Okay, so she was saying that it was like a 2-year age difference and the parents were kind of waiting, but it wasn't. It was more like a 5-year age. No, it was a 4-year age difference. I'll post that. I'll dig that up and post that. I didn't know that until recently when I started checking into it because my mom said, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. They had been dating for like a year, and then she ended up getting pregnant, and her mom got really upset about it. I guess her mom never did like little Donnie either. Even when they first started dating, she never liked him. But I guess she knew she just kind of put up with him, for the sake of their daughter. Because she was in love with him. And then, she ended up pressing charges because she ended up getting pregnant. And, I guess she didn't agree with that. And so she pressed charges against him. But I ended up hearing that, yes, she did have the baby and he has to pay child support for that baby. So, I'm not sure, how that all plays out. But my mom did tell me that he does have to pay child support. Okay, so this is Theresa. He's not, but he's not doing, he's, what? Not media relations, because that's what his wife does. Law enforcement liaison or something. I don't think he investigates. I'm not sure what he does. Yes, I agree. Is little Donnie still with that girl? No. He has a wife and I believe 2 other children with her. He would have only had to served, I believe, a year or 2, and then they could release him to the custody of his parents. But because both Don and Pam were meth addicts, they couldn't release him, and he ended up having to stay in prison. I don't know. I just think he got the short end of the stick. I know a lot of people don't believe me. Don't believe that. Don't like it that I think that, but there I am. Liaison to police departments, yeah. Oh, no. It's a different girl. I think they were together when he got out still. I'm not sure when he met this girl. Why didn't the grandfather take him in? Now that I don't know. I can't answer that. Maybe he didn't want to. I really don't know, but that's a very good question, Anastasia. Okay, so it's taken a while to get through this. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is Theresa. Peaches wants to know, did anyone read this? Did anyone in Don's family warn Candace about his past? So does Candace know about Don's past? Mary says, well, I think we know Candace has her own past. Yeah. Did anybody tell Don about that? So they probably weren't too judgmental of each other. Right. I don't think so. Like, unless we're talking about the essay part, I don't think that, any of us on Donnie's side of the family really, because we didn't know Candace, because they lived in Tennessee. And he never came down here or brought her or the kids with him or anything. So, Dawn of Destruction would like to know, is anybody in your family supporting Don now? Nobody has spoken up in defense of him. Well, his biological sister will know that they're standing up for him, and my dad, Donnie's dad, I know that he's standing up for him. And, I was for a while there, even myself. I didn't think he had anything to do with it. But like I said, their stories just keep changing. So, I don't know. I mean, why would you have to sit and change your story so many times like that? It's just, there's no reason for that unless, you're lying. Because once you start lying, I mean, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And, from my experience, so some things do keep changing. And I don't know if that's selective memory or intentional selective memory. I don't know. Well, yeah, that could be it too. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, here's Theresa. Is my chat frozen? You guys are being quiet in there. Do I have any mods left? I don't know. I think my mods are all gone. Oh well, everybody's being good. Oh, Alessia. Prison Lore, are you a mod? Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay. This is Theresa. Oh, Eve, hi. Okay, you guys are all hiding. Tim, the media manager, we're searching our brains. Yeah, I've talked about Tim before. I really don't know what he has to gain. I don't know what his purpose is, and I don't know what Robin's is either. Those two are kind of a mystery. I don't think they have anything to do with Summer going missing, but what are they involving themselves in it for? I can't figure it out. I'm coloring. Hi, Pommy Mom. Okay, so Theresa asks, let's see, why did Don go to prison and how long was he there? Mary said, which time? I think we're probably talking about the 19 year when he was 19, because I think that was the one we brought up. Oh my gosh, he's just been in and out of prison so many times. Yeah, I think he's been in prison twice. I think the other times were jail. I'd have to think again. So many times, was he ever charged with trying to sell his child? No, he wasn't, because what happened with that was, like I said, Donnie was on drugs a lot, and at that time, right around that time, he could have went to jail or prison in between that time. I just can't really remember. Nothing really ever came of it, except for maybe my mom and dad sitting down with Donnie, and telling him, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing trying to sell your kids, But it's like I said, he was on so many drugs, and he just, he needed to get his fix. You know what I mean? He went around to everybody in the family. He stole our lawnmowers. He stole our tools. He stole a lot of stuff from my mom and dad, because it was accessible. He was to sell for drugs. He knew where everything was. He stole their wedding rings. He stole a lot of my dad's tools, lawnmowers. I mean, anything he could get his hands on, VCRs, televisions. It was just a bad situation. When you have an addict in your family, it gets pretty ugly. Do you think that Don's still on drugs from looking? I mean, you guys, you haven't saw him since last year in 2020, besides marijuana. I know we asked you this on the last live. You did not see any other drug use while he was in Utah with you guys. Do you think he's currently on anything? And, oh, I missed, how do you say your name? Anyway, hello. I don't want to butcher it. Yeah, this isn't Mary. I'm reading Mary's interview with Theresa from CriminaliTy. This is her second interview. It's from August 9th, 2021. Okay, Theresa said, do you think he's currently on anything? Mary said, well, I do know for a fact. Well, the motorhome I was telling you guys about that he was staying in, my mom and dad gave me and my husband that motorhome a couple months ago, and we brought it home, and it was still filthy and filled with clothes and everything when Donnie was staying in there. So we had to clean it out, and there was needles and stuff in there that I had found in the motorhome. So apparently he had been doing drugs in there, because did anybody else have access to that motorhome? Theresa asks, could anybody else have gotten in there? Mary said, well, yeah, because it was always locked, I'm not saying it was Donnie's needles, but you did find needles. I did find a couple in there, yeah. So, the whole thing was just being destroyed. And it's like he took the wires apart and put different wires together. It's like he didn't know what he was doing, and he messed the whole wiring system up and the generator and everything in that RV. My mom gave it to us. We had to go through it and fix everything because he totally destroyed it. And it was just, I don't know. What did you think of Don saying, this is Theresa, when Chris asked him, like, what it was, what you'd like to happen to the person who took Summer? And Don's answer was that he knows how bad prison is and that he wouldn't want the guilty party to go to prison. What did you think of that? Mary said, I myself think that he was just saying that stuff because I don't know. I think because he might be guilty, he might be guilty of doing something, because why would you say that? I mean, myself, if I had a daughter missing and did she freeze? I think she made it. Oh, okay. It was my daughter, I would tell them, you need to go to prison, or they need to be put to death, or, they need to be held accountable for their actions. There ain't no way I would say, oh, well, I wouldn't wish prison on them because I know how it is in prison. Pommy Pom. Yeah. Everybody's stories changes around here. Of course, this was at the beginning. So, we found out a lot since then. That's just me, but I know myself, I would say they need to be held responsible and put in prison and done whatever needs to be done, I can only assume the things that I would say needed to be done to somebody who touched one of my children. So yeah, I probably won't put that on out here publicly. But yeah, you don't even want to know my thoughts. Yeah, prison is the least of their worries. So Theresa said, would you know what the most violent thing he did that Don did when he was young, or was he even violent? Oh, yes. Yes, I know some friends whose children are addicts. It's a horrible existence for everyone involved. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. You can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. And they don't want to be helped in a lot of cases. Okay, Mary said he was violent when he couldn't get a drug, but that's just a person who's on drugs that can't get all over me. Doing what you do as an addict is not always necessarily what you would do when you're sober. So I 100% believe that and to me, Daddy was always a good person when he wasn't on drugs, He seemed like he was always a good worker and, he provided for his family and himself and stuff when he wasn't on drugs. But when he got on the drugs, he was just totally gone. It was like his body, but a totally different person. Theresa said, all right, let's see. Do you think Don would take up for Candace if she hurt Summer? Because Candace dropped the charges against him. Mary said, I don't know. I kind of think so, but then again, I just don't know. I was watching the interview with Allie, and she was saying if Candace, or if, had hurt Summer or anything, he would just flip out because that was his baby girl. So I don't know that it makes me, I just don't know if you don't know the answer. Can you say what you know? Okay. She wants everybody in chat to make sure they understand there's a difference between when Mary's telling you what she thinks versus Mary telling you what she knows. Okay, Theresa said, someone in chat said, is the essay accusation from the night Don came home from prison true? Is that when the family found out about the abuse? That's a great question. Because I don't actually know anything about that. I've not heard that the night Don came home from prison true. Right? This is Mary. Yes, it is, because I remember being there that night. I was staying in the other bedroom and Jeannie was staying in the other room. And when Donnie came home that night, I believe my mom put him on the couch because there was nowhere else to sleep. And I remember waking up and there was all this commotion. And I got up and my dad was outside looking for Donnie because apparently he had took off and went and hid somewhere. And I just remember all the commotion and my mom really upset and, yelling at my dad and, saying that he wanted Donnie arrested. And, this has got to stop. And because I believe that Jeannie had told my mom once before, but nothing ever really happened about her, you know what I mean? And then Theresa says, do you think your dad does not believe Jeannie? Or is Don just able to make it seem like it was no big deal? Like, is it just because he's older? But if he knew about it when he was younger, I guess I'm confused. I'll wait for you. Mary said, I think my dad wants to believe Jeannie. I'm sure he does now because Donald had confessed to him. But before, I think he probably wanted to believe her. But it's really weird, the relationship between my dad and Donnie. Because I think it's because Donnie, for one, it was his only son. You know what I mean? And, it's just that, like my dad, the last time I talked to him, he's just like, well, Donnie's always had bad breaks. And it seems like he's always had this black cloud over him, his whole life. Yeah. He's a black cloud over everyone else's life. That's me saying that. Oh, yeah. Prismo, I'm not sure that Suboxone or methadone, I don't think crack is an opioid, is it? So I don't think that would help. Because they were both meth addicts, but, that was back before 2009. I know Candace got off meth when her third baby was born addicted to meth. Okay, so he's always gotten into drugs and bad things have happened to him and he's gone to prison and everything. And I think that just makes it to where my dad wants to, like, how do I put, coddle him, protect him, you know what I mean? And so I think my dad once wanted to believe my sister back then, but he probably just couldn't find it in his heart, you know what I mean? So he turns to his son, his only son, and so he has to, what does he do? Pick between his only son and his stepdaughter. Or you know what I mean? So back then, I don't think he really probably wanted to believe her, but he just didn't want to, doesn't want to believe that it could be true. I think he's at the age now, I'm not sure how I would handle it, but I mean, the things about when they were younger, I don't know, right? Like I said before, you're young, when you start getting abused like that, you're little. You don't know anything about sex and you don't, when you have somebody come into your bedroom at night and catching you and stuff and you're little, you don't know, all you know is going through your brain is why are they doing this to me? That this doesn't feel right and that's all you know. They sit there and talk to you and they put ideas in your head and they'll say anything to you to get you to go along. That's what predators do. Some are mentioning that Don is in the chat under Prayer Garden of America. That was funny. Just reading the transcript. I have no idea if that's really Don, but Don, you're always welcome to come up. I mean, there's always room for you. So if you're able to come up and tell your truth anytime that you want to, just let me know. So if it's knocked on, then welcome Prayer Garden of America. And let's see. This is still Theresa. Was your dad abusive to Don at all? Did Don suffer from abuse from anybody? Because sometimes it's generational. And Mary said, not that I know of, okay, but I do know that Donnie's stepdad, now he sexually abused Donnie's two sisters. He could have abused Donnie too, I don't know, but his one biological sister said yes, that their stepdad did abuse them, and so he could have got it from his stepdad. I don't know. Okay, that's kind of what I heard. When you've got abusers that, that do that. And of course, that's where they're learning it from or getting it from or whatever. I heard that Don said his stepdad wasn't the nicest of guys, but I had not heard that there was assault to the sisters. Mary said, Yeah, his stepdad was bad. He was really bad. I felt bad for Donnie and his sisters, and I couldn't even see how they could even live there. You know, his stepdad was very, very mean, very abusive to them kids. He was bad, bad. Kelly. Yeah, that was his name, Kelly. I guess this is somebody in chat said that he did say he was abused by him. I did hear that he was physically abused, but I don't know if there was any type of essay. So I didn't know if you know that. I don't know if there was or not. I just know that he did abuse, his stepdad did abuse the two girls. And he very well may have abused Donnie. Maybe Donnie don't want to talk about that. You don't want to come out, you know, because it's shameful. Okay. Let's make it here. Oh no, that's them talking about her garden was in chat and they thought that was Don in disguise. I just think that's funny. Okay, so let's see. I just know it's just really hard when you have people do that to you. It's tough. It's tough to accept and get through. Okay, a question from chat. Would like to know, have you talked to Don Jr., so little Donnie, his sister or Don's ex-wife, since the last time we spoke? I know that you said you had a relationship with Donnie Jr., little Donnie, but you hadn't spoke to his sister. Has there been any change in that? Mary said, no, there hasn't, and I actually haven't even seen little Donnie since the last time we talked. Like I said, I see him every once in a while and his wife and kids over at my mom's and stuff, and maybe at my other sister's house every once in a while. But other than that, no. And I've actually been looking for Donnie's ex-wife down on the streets, you know. This is Pam, his first wife. But I haven't seen her lately. But sometimes I do see her and I'll pull over and talk to her, you know. But yeah, I haven't seen her either. And little Margie, I haven't heard from either. So I believe Don said that his ex-wife had cleaned up her act and was doing better. Did you hear that part? Mary said, yeah, she's still the same. She hasn't cleaned up her act. She's still the same person she was 20 or 30 years ago. Someone asked, is Don's stepdad still alive? You know, I don't know. I don't think so. He could be, but I don't know. His stepdad is not alive, or Kelly is dead. Do you know why Don was left the property and not his sisters? I think Don left the property because he was up there, you know, when his mom was really sick with cancer for a couple of years. And I think Donnie moved in and started taking care of her. And when all that happened, I think she just said, well, I'm just going to leave you the house and the property, you know, because he never had a place of his own or a place to go or, you know, anything like that. So this is what we were kind of talking about. There's obviously 9 children in the family. I would be curious. Let's see if there was obviously, we do know that there are things that you are like learned behaviors, such as this. It's interesting that the stepdad has a little bit of history or alleged history, and then you have Donnie Jr., who got into some trouble when he was younger, but seems to be doing quite well as an adult, according to his Aunt Mary. So, no, they're still taking questions. Just want you guys to know. Okay, they're asking about Candy. She doesn't know if she's home yet. The last I heard, she was still in Wisconsin, but that could change. And Mary said, well, I'm sure, I would think that law enforcement has definitely looked into what's going on there. You know, they have quite a few registered sex offenders that live in that area. That was one of the very first things that made me look at this case, because I'm like, That's not a very big population for the amount of sex offenders that live within miles of this home. What was the condition of the property when Don's mother was still alive? Okay, she doesn't answer that. Theresa said, how old was Jeannie when Mary's mom and dad got married and Don's dad got married? Gosh, I'm trying to think of when they got married because they lived together for quite a few years before they got married. They had known each other for years, if I remember correctly from the last time we spoke. Okay, Jeannie must be in chat. Jeannie said she was 3. Mary said she was just little because I remember when we moved into that trailer, like I said, there was just a little crib or a little bed, a little teeny tiny bed that was at the end of my mom and dad's bed, I think in the trailer, because there was nowhere for her to sleep, you know what I mean, except for in this little bed. And then there's my mom and dad in their bed. And right, because we talked about this, you guys had a very small home with 9 children. Mary said, but a couple of my older siblings weren't there because they were already out on their own. Actually, 3 of them. It was Debbie, Virgil, Sherry. Debbie's husband is the one that abused Mary. And then it was me and Randy and Jeannie and Donnie and Sonia and Heidi. But Sonia and Heidi, they weren't there all the time because they were just there like on weekends and stuff because their mom had custody of them. But my dad had custody of Donnie, and so he was always there. So like I said, we had a set of bunk beds in the other room, and then the other kids, which was left over, just had to sleep on the couch and the floor in the front room, wherever you fit in. You just had to better call a spot first, otherwise you're on the floor. Okay, they're talking about an April Wells, and I don't know who that is. I don't think I saw a picture of her, but they're talking about, is that possibly Candace and Don's? Possibly after summer, right around summer, that was given up, but nobody seems to know who that is or where she is. Okay, we did talk about her having another child, or them having another child after summer. That you had heard was given up for adoption, but there was nobody really knew, right? Yeah, I still don't know about that. I just heard that they did have another child and put it up for adoption, so I don't know. Okay, they did not have another child. I totally believe that. And for her to talk about Heidi and Sonia, I don't think that she should have said that. And then I don't think we're done with her telling people. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, and Chris McDonough did that too. He outed 2 victims. Yeah, I don't think that's right. It's not their story to tell. Okay, I'm trying to find Don's ex-wife's first name, and she said it's Pam. Okay, where were Don and Candace when Candace's sister went missing? From my understanding, they were in Arkansas at the time, and Don had never met Rose. This is what we were told. That's true. Don did never met Rose. She said, I have no clue on that. Don K says she did not have another child. Mary's mom had told her there was another one. No, Mary's mom said she had heard that. She didn't say there was. But I don't know who this April was. I have seen her. Okay, how did Don's mom die? I'm not quite sure when it was. I know it was a few years back, but she did die from cancer. And I'm not sure what home it was, what kind of cancer it was. But she did die from cancer. Do you know how Don dealt with it? Like how he was at the time? Mary said, I don't know because he wasn't here. He was in Tennessee at that time. So I'm not sure how he dealt with it. Okay, let's see. Clear this. Let's see. I just want to clear up. There was no needles found that belonged. Oh. I guess Don was in chat. I just want to clear up. There was no needles found that belonged to me. Okay, well, if you're Donald, I would like you just like to know that you are, so then I could just ask you the question directly and make it a lot easier. And you're welcome here, Don. So you definitely don't have to hide or anything. If it is you, and if it's not you, then you're just safe. Anybody could have been in that RV. Yeah, that's right. That's why I was asking, like, how easily accessible it was. Yeah, they were very accessible. Anybody could have been in there who died of an overdose. I'm not sure why we're asking about this. Okay, so she said, why did Don want to move to Utah? I don't know, Mary said. He told me that he missed Utah and wanted to move back here. So why did he only bring one son with him? I don't know. Okay, let's see. Has anybody in the family been able to talk to the boys? Not that I know of. Okay, Mary says to you, Mary, always stand strong and thank you for sharing your story. I think that's the general sentiment. That isn't Don. His spelling is terrible. Yes. Okay. Somebody chimed in chat and said that Don's mother had MRSA. And that is correct. She had cancer for a while, but then she did catch MRSA at the end, and it eventually killed her. I think. Okay, here we go. We're about to out another victim. The other thing is 50 years ago, Mary, from my understanding, life is definitely not the same. Things are not addressed the same way. Things are not looked at the same way. I think something back then weren't talked about. I mean, we know some things aren't talked about now, and this is a much more outspoken generation. It's different in every family. People are raised different, And even my mother was abused when she was a child by her stepdad. I don't think she should have told that either. So, when my mom was raised, her mom raised her as things like stuff happened. It was just basically swept under the carpet and you don't talk about that. You know what I mean? So when my mom started having kids and, of course, stuff like that comes up, it was just pushed under the carpet, And even for me, I went to my mom and told her I was being abused by my brother-in-law. And she either didn't believe me or I don't know what was the case, but it was basically just shut up and deal with that. And it was swept under the carpet. Don't tell anybody, right? It's just the way people are raised. You know what I mean? So then it goes on from generation to generation to generation. And it's really hard to end the cycle. You know what I mean? Especially after so many generations. It's just really hard. It goes on forever. That doesn't make it okay, but it gives it perspective on why things have happened that way and how we've ended up at the point we have in life, right? So obviously, in retrospect, if things had been dealt with this way or that way, a lot of things could be different. but you can only go from here. Go tell your story, tell Jeannie's story and speak the truth, and we'll pray for Summer. And like I said, every time we've talked about this case, I'm not swayed one way or another on what happened. That's about it. Yeah, it was merciless, yeah. That was what actually killed her, but I think she was so weak from having cancer for so long. Let's see. I think that's about it. Let me see if there's just a lot of thanks and stuff here. She said she wishes she could find Summer. She said, do you think Don would be capable of hurting his own child to cover up for SA or for any reason? Mary said, well, I kind of think he would if he was like on drugs. Because like I said before, when he does drugs, he's not there. It's like he's God. It's like he's a zombie. It's like he's not there. And it just so I think he probably could have done something with her or hurt her, if he was on drugs or something, because a lot of people do weird stuff and mean stuff and whatever, when they're on drugs. And, there's drugs out there that make people do totally weird stuff that I've never even, seen or heard about until the internet came on. People take videos of other people on drugs and stuff, and it just like totally freaks me out that they act that way. Anything is possible, especially when you're on drugs. And for somebody like Donnie, in my opinion, can't handle drugs, hard drugs, but he does them anyway. But I know a lot of people like that too. What kind of relationship do you want to have with Don at this point in your life? With Donnie, yeah, my brother. He's still my brother. I'll think of him as my brother. I know he's just my stepbrother and stuff, and I don't mind having a brother-sister relationship with him. When he came back here and just showed up. And when he got here and he started drinking again and fighting with my dad and arguing with my dad, it's just, I thought, well, he hasn't changed a bit, And my thought was, just go get your ass in your truck and go back to Tennessee and just leave us alone, because he hasn't changed. And he's constantly just playing the victim and laying the blame constantly on my dad for his problems. I don't understand why he does that, but in my opinion, he just hasn't changed, and our relationship is just not what it was when we were younger. And in my opinion, I think he needs to stay where he's at and just stay away from the family, because he's been nothing but trouble. Just like my dad said, he's been in trouble his whole life. This black cloud hanging around his head. I don't know why, but he's my brother. He's in Tennessee, and that's where I leave it. And that's about it. Then they're going to wrap it up. Yes, Prismo. I do know a lot about that, actually. Just let me check and make sure that that's it. Oh, Prayer Garden got blocked. I'm sorry. Okay, that's about it. Yes, her she wasn't actually hospitalized. Here's what I was told by someone that was talking to her on the phone almost the whole entire time. It's only once she starts telling people there's no doctor-patient privilege anymore, you give it up. So she went to the emergency room twice at one hospital, and there wasn't anything wrong with her, and she got mad that they wouldn't do anything, so she went to a second hospital. And on the way, she called a friend and told her to try to get a hold of Don because Don wasn't answering any of her phone calls. So then she got to the hospital and, laid in the bed in her clothes. And the person that was talking to her on the phone said mostly she was sitting outside on a bench smoking most of the time. And she ordered pizza and had it delivered there and ate that. And that the only thing wrong is that she was supposed to have the batteries in her pacemaker changed when the middle boy was born, I think, and never bothered to. So there was no life-threatening heart surgery at all. So Candace claimed that Tim and Don made that up, and she was afraid to tell the truth. But then she went on Daisy's and was doubling down on it. Oh, yeah. So, yes, she had pizza delivered to the hospital. Uber. I don't know. Pizza. I'm sure the pizza delivery person knew the way to the hospital. They probably ordered it there. Okay. I think that's about it. Does anybody have any more questions? Oh, was his? I missed you coming in, hon. Hi. I absolutely 100% agree. And it just seems like in this whole case, everybody feels that, I don't know, outing everybody else's stories. In my opinion, the fact that, Chris McDonough outed 2 victims. One person put a victim's address and social security number out, accidentally, allegedly. And, Mary telling about Heidi Sonia and her mother. In my opinion, that would cause people to not confide in other people for fear that their stories would be told, is what I would think. It's a pretty big thing anyway. One of my incidents, I have never told a living soul. No one. Never. And the other one I've told a couple of people, medical professionals, but that's it. So, would I don't know. I don't think that's right. It's not their story to tell, in my opinion. Thank you, Prismo. We always have a great chat. Thanks, everybody, for being respectful. And, if you don't have any more questions, I guess we'll see you next time. Thanks to my mods. You're all awesome. Thanks to the newcomers. And please come back. All right. Have a good, what is this, Thursday? Yep. Have a good evening, and we'll talk to you later. Bye. Jeffrey.